Hey, there we go. Welcome
Hey,
everyone to another episode of the Cultivator Culture. We
welcome to
have
the
got
9:30 Monday night edition at
and
9:47
listen,
because
this
doctors can't be on time.
this is
Doctors,
wonderful.
am I right?
This
I'm in the
is
He's
waiting
right.
room.
this is
You're right.
Monday Night Lights. Dude, this is Monday Night Football. This is how we're doing it nowadays. It seems to be working for us. But with us we have Steinbrenner football alumni Garret Cates, who then went to Charleston Southern for his 4 years, right? And then
Yep. Or for
his
3 years.
three, and then now he's transferred back home to the
Mm,
University of South Florida. Go Bulls! Um,
hold
how
on.
are things back at home, Garrett? Are you happy to be back in Florida?
Yeah, it's great. The heat is a little bit different than Charleston, but being near my family, being able to call them on a Saturday, hey, you guys want to go get dinner? It's great. And get to see family more. Now I know like my grandma will be able to come out to the games.
That's
And even
awesome.
just like if I'm driving to the mall and driving past Raymond James, it's like that's really where I'm playing. And it gives me the butterflies, but I'm really excited.
That's
Speaking
awesome.
of calling your family for dinner, your dad still owes me a Lebanese meal at some point. I didn't forget about that.
Don't lie.
I didn't forget about that.
Oh,
Man, we're excited, man. Big Bulls fans here. My wife graduated from USF. My son is absolutely in love with the Bulls. But well, talk to us about the new squad, the new coaching staff. It's what's Tampa got to be excited about.
yeah, it's great. There's definitely a lot of hype right now around USF's name, and the hype is not something that Coach Golish is running from, but he also will talk to the whole team a lot, saying, let's not focus and listen to what the hype is. Let's focus on our process. Coach Golish is like a super process driven guy, which I think is the best thing that you can have. You're not worrying about an outcome. You're worrying about what little steps can I take every day to get to a desired outcome. Um, the whole staff is amazing. You talked about that I came from an FCS school, Charleston Southern, and there's just a ton of support staff and great people, great teammates. Coming from a smaller school, you go to the big school as a long snapper, and you're a little bit nervous, like, oh man, am I gonna get like, oh, this guy, he's a long snapper. But everybody was so welcoming coming in the spring, and it's been great so far.
That's awesome. There's so many people out there. We've talked about this on the show a couple times. There's just so many people that they have these big goals, but
Yeah,
they forget all the steps it takes to reach those goals. And you got to have something in place. You got to have a self check system in place where you're checking off the boxes a day at a time, a couple days at a time. You can't just go be state champions or national champions. There's so much conference champions. How are
yep,
you going to get there? And I love the idea of the process. And we've talked about it even at Steinbrenner when you were there. Is we have a path that players are going to get to become great citizens. And along the
yep,
way, that makes them great family members. It makes them great brothers to each other. And it
yep,
forms wins over time, is really what it does.
for sure.
Yeah, listen, it's one of those things that now you have a compare and contrast from two different programs, but essentially the same idea, right? That
Yeah.
the process is more important than the prize. Um, Different, obviously, because USF's a bigger program, playing in an
Mhm.
FBS conference versus the FCS conference. Tell us a bit of the compare and contrast of what the differences are, Charleston Southern versus USF.
Yeah, so I haven't played a fall season yet, obviously. Um, but facility wise, like you are given everything that you could ever possibly need to be successful as far as food and weight room. We have the best weight staff. They're great. They, take care of you, whatever you need. Um, Everybody on the staff is great, but the sheer amount of people that you have that are there to help, I would say is like the biggest difference. Whether that's the nutritionist that you go to, say, hey, I want to put on a few pounds, and they'll show you how to do it. Um, Even like there's a um, team football psychologist that is there like to talk about big moments, how to deal with that type of stuff. And, that and like the nutritionist is something that I didn't even know was a thing for a football program when I was at Charleston Southern. And like you get here and your head is spinning, there's all these people, and you hear about that stuff, and it's like, wow, this is just a group of people that are doing everything in their power to watch you succeed
Yeah.
and to have you help you succeed. So
Yeah,
it's
giving you
pretty crazy.
every option, every potential, right? Every resource. In fact, uh, Coach Napier up there at the University of Florida, they just took their team picture and it was all over Twitter. That if you saw it, there are more people on the support staff than there are
Yeah.
on the actual football team. I think that's a new trend that's starting to happen in
Mhm.
football, anyways, because back in the olden days, there was a gladiator mentality, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lot more of, you sucked it up. When you got injured, you sucked it up. Um,
Mhm.
when you were having a tough time in class, you sucked it up. When you weren't feeling so good about yourself and you were down, you sucked it up.
Yep.
There wasn't somebody to help you walk through every trial and tribulation, whether it was on the field or off the field, that you have now. And it's different. Like you said, there's a lot more of those resources in an FBS school. Now,
Yeah.
give us a compare and contrast of the football. Now, what is it like playing at USF, rather, and the caliber of athlete versus at Charleston Southern?
Yeah. The caliber of athlete is, I would say size wise, there's a small difference,
Mhm.
but the biggest thing that I could tell is just 120 guys that are ready to get it done, that want to get on the field, whether that's defense, offense, or special teams. Like a lot of people would turn their nose to special teams, high school, college, but here it's like they just want to get on the field, and it's just dudes that are trying to get on the field. Big, fast. It's a little bit quicker, I think, and also like even just taking practice reps against a practice squad or a show team, like those guys are working as hard as they can because they're trying to get spots on the punt return team or whatever. um and that just gets me better too, because if I have somebody that's taking it easy on me during practice, I go into a game and somebody's blowing me up and I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like I haven't got any practice with this.
Yeah.
But it's just guys that are fully committed to being their best every day. And another cool thing is we had, I think, 15 spring practices, and there wasn't one day that everybody went out there and you have that feeling where it's like, oh, it's hot out today, I may not want to do it. That might have went on for 5 minutes before warmups, and that crap was cut. There's high energy from the coaching staff to players that just keep like the morale up for 15 days of spring ball. When that's, I mean, you guys know how grueling that is. Even in high school, it's like, oh man, like, I might not want to do it, but that doesn't happen. It's just high energy and everybody's ready to get to work trying to get a spot. It's awesome.
No, do they? We talked about it a little bit off the air, but you are the long snapper at USF, which special teams in college different than special teams in high school,
Yeah.
and we are our special teams coordinators for Steinbrenner, and you were one of the main dudes on our unit, but you also played on the D line in
Mhm.
college. Special teams is like a unit in itself. And
100%.
tell me what that transition from playing multiple positions to now just specializing in just long snapping. How is that transition for you?
Yeah, it was weird my first year of college. Especially I came in behind a 6 year at Charleston Southern, so I played in 2 games, and that was weird going from being the guy in high school that played everything, like you said, D line and special teams. But um, yeah, not having the D line aspect was a little weird. Like you find yourself being a little insecure sometimes. Like, everybody looks at the long snapper or the kickers. a little bit differently sometimes, or at least you come in with that notion. But eventually you realize that that's not really the truth. Everybody accepts you no matter what you play. Um, but it was weird. But like I said, Charleston Southern USF, the whole team accepts you. And it doesn't really matter that you didn't play D line, but it did feel a little weird. But I can tell you 100% my body would feel better or feels better right now than if I was playing D line because
Oh,
those
heck yeah.
dudes get banged up.
Oh man. But either way, there is still the same demand from you on the track, in the weight
Oh
room,
yeah.
in the classroom, in the meeting rooms.
Hmm.
You being a special teams guy in college, is just like any other unit, offense or defense. Um, but again, the difference between special teams versus offense and defense, on offense, you get four chances. On
Yep.
specs, you got one. You you
Yeah.
me- you mess it up, everybody sees it. You mess up, everyone knows exactly where to point the finger. Um,
Yeah.
and so there is a little bit of that pressure that's different than playing on offense or defense. But likewise, with the kind of support staff that you have now, plus the caliber of the guys that are there, the the likeliness is that mistakes are less likely to happen because of all of the whole program as a whole, rather than
For
just
sure.
your one job. Now, how does it feel coming back home? Have you had a ton of people be like, "Yo, give me tickets. It's fun to watch."
Yeah, some people, but I mean, I'm so excited for that. Just hearing all the people that I have behind me, and I knew everybody was behind me at Charleston Southern too, but to have everybody readily available to go 25 minutes down the road and come watch is so awesome. And all the texts that I got when I was coming back here was great. And it was just a big relief off my shoulders to have a new home to come to. And it just happened to be in Tampa Bay,
Yeah,
which
hometown.
is the best place that you can ever be.
Yeah. Tell us
So,
tell us a little bit about the transfer portal. Now again, we have
yeah.
had this conversation with multiple of our athletes that played for us at Steinbrenner that have gone to different schools. What was your experience in the transfer portal?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. I feel like it's almost like the dark web almost. Like everybody talks about it, but you don't know what it looks like. It's like, what is it gonna feel like when I get in there? So, um, I just was praying a lot, asking God to give me signs whether to go in or what I should do. And I think a lot of people, including myself, probably number one, like being comfortable.
Yeah.
And I really felt uncomfortable going in, but I felt for my happiness like I wanted to go into the portal. So I had to make sure I was okay with not being picked up at all because that's
Yeah.
always something that could happen when you get in. So I really just dove in, and luckily I was ranked like fifth in all college football snappers, FBS and FCS on PFF,
Nice.
which was probably the biggest help
Talk to us
because
about
I
what's
didn't go that
PFF for
far.
our listeners.
Yeah. Let's be
Uh, PFF is Pro Football Focus, so they do all of the stat stuff for the NFL and for Division I football. They watch everything. If you have a bad snap in a game, your grade will go down. If you make a tackle, your grade will go up. So um, that was the biggest help of the portal. Like everybody that I was getting hit up from was like, "Hey, I saw your film on PFF. I saw your stats on PFF." And I'm glad I didn't know that PFF was watching me during the season or anything, because you just get a little bit nervous about that. It's not the right thing to think about. But it was scary. But once I started getting offers and talking to coaches, it's like, okay, now I can relax and I can think about where am I going to be happiest at? Where do I want to live? So,
well, and I
but it's
know,
scary.
yeah, I know you and your family were close when you were in high school.
Hmm.
So I'm sure everybody was happy family wise for you to come home. What was it like when you left and went to Charleston Southern? How I know mom and dad go went up to a lot of your games and your sister
Yeah.
to a couple of them. What was it like being born and raised in Tampa and
Hmm.
then uprooting yourself to a completely different place, um, to be able to go chase a dream.
Yeah, leaving all your friends and family is probably the craziest feeling. Um, as an 18-year-old, and you hear like the stories like, oh, college football is going to be hard, and you're 8 hours away from home. It was weird. You get there and you start workouts and they throw you straight into the fire, and you wake up the next day and you can barely walk. And
Right back at it.
yeah, it's a crazy feeling, and you really just have to like soak everything in and embrace the suck almost. Like Coach Ross used to say that all the time, like embrace it, like enjoy being uncomfortable. But that takes a while, and it was really weird. But thank God I have a family that was able to come up and visit me so much, and really just let me focus on football. And then they would be there, every 6 months at the least, and at all of my games during college. So I got to see them, and that really filled up like my tank of family happiness and stuff, which is something I hold near and dear to my heart. So that really helped. Being away from your friends and leaving, like you Snapchat your friends and you see them having fun during summer, and you're doing workouts at 5 a.m. is a little weird, but it becomes the norm. Like now in off season, it feels weird if I'm not waking up early or if I'm not working out. Like this off season, I worked out the whole time instead of taking a break, just because it feels so weird not being on a regimented schedule.
Yeah.
So
Tell us a little bit about Charleston Southern. Tell us a little about Charleston, South Carolina. Tell us what the biggest takeaway that you got from that program was that's going to stick with you even after your football days.
yeah, I'll start with that last question. Or yeah, first is I really grew closer to God. Um, and that is something that I couldn't be more thankful for. That's something that goes on for forever, and just having a chance to learn about God and take classes, and like just having a relationship with God is the best thing that you could ever have in your life, in my opinion. So that was the biggest takeaway, and I'll forever be thankful to that school for that. Um, Besides that, Charleston is awesome as a city.
Yeah.
Like super cool. It's almost like a southern New York City that's little.
Mm.
There's a bunch to do downtown, a lot of sights to see. The weather's
accents.
yeah, heavy accents. But I met a ton of great people there, and thank God we have these phones that I can keep in touch with all the buddies that I made there. And Charleston Southern as a school, it's a lot different than USF. It was small. Like I would have 15, 20 people in my classes. Yeah, it was basically like a little bit bigger than Steinbrenner. And it was honestly just weird, but I think it was good to come into a school, and like we were just talking about, when your head is spinning, being so far from home, it's good to be in a small class where you could talk to the professor, compared to I come to USF and my first day I'm in this like auditorium with 250 people.
Yeah.
And the teachers aren't taking attendance. They don't care if you're there or not. They don't care if you fail or not. So Charleston Southern was a very pretty school though. It was awesome and a great spot. So
listen, tell us, I'm going to step back a little bit because I think it's an interesting conversation. And I'd like to delve more into it. That, you said you found a relationship with God at Charleston Southern. Tell us, did you do the FCA stuff while you were there?
Yeah, that was something that they would almost integrate into the program. Like before games, our FCA director would come in, or we would just have meetings with the FCA director. And I think I had two of them while I was there, but they were great at never like making you feel pressured. I had I would say like my relationship with God started senior year of high school, but it really grew in college, being surrounded by guys that you felt comfortable to ask questions about God, and you never felt stupid.
Who do you think was your biggest influence on diving deeper into a relationship with Christ?
I would probably say a punter that I had my sophomore year named David Gelb. He was a transfer in from Maine, and he did 1 year as my punter, and he was a big mentor, and I never felt judged for asking questions. And he was just always there for me, like to ask or like do. I would go to his house, drive him home, and like we would just read the Bible some and talk about it,
Yeah.
And I mean, I having those type of guys in your life is great,
Yeah.
guys that you can pick up the phone at 2 a.m. and they're going to answer and be like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
So I'm forever thankful for him for sure.
Now, do you have a group that you have found at USF? You were being mentored at Charleston Southern by the punter. Now,
Hmm.
have you switched roles now that you're an upperclassman? Or are you still being mentored by somebody that you found here at USF, or are you now doing the mentoring for those young guys who are finding or finding looking for a relationship with Christ now?
Yeah, I would say both, honestly. I feel like I'll always take wisdom from somebody that's younger than me, equal age or older, always because I mean I want to hear what everybody has to say and advice. Um, but yeah, also I'm trying to get better at mentoring the young men that are on the team. That was something like in my exit meetings, the coach said like, hey, like you're a great guy. I think that you have a great personality, and I'd like to see you mentor the young guys on the team more. Whether that was more in an athletic standpoint,
Yeah.
but if I feel like somebody wants help with God, like I'm always going to be there to talk about that
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Athletically, like I pull the new guys along as much as I can and help them out and show them the ropes. It's still a little new for me too at USF, but
Yeah.
you know, for life lessons, nothing's new at USF. So I
Yeah.
always like to help everybody out.
Well, and the hardest part is, right, like you've got 3 college football seasons under your belt, and
Yeah.
you're walking into a program where, like you said, there's dudes everywhere in every position, right? But
Yeah.
well, everyone is so very unsure of themselves when
Hmm.
they walk in, no matter if they're a
Yeah.
5 star, whether they're a no star, right? So athletically, having somebody that has got your experience is an incredibly valuable thing for a football program. But on the other side of the coin, somebody with your kind of life experience it's very, very important as well too, because the landscape that you're living in when it comes to um, not just college football, but with the NIL stuff, with
Yeah.
social media and the internet. Like I'm the same. I listened to a podcast with Russell Brand a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Listen, there doesn't need to be any more Christians in the world. What
Hmm.
they need is the Christians that are here to actually speak out,
Yeah.
because it's the craziest part of the way the world is. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody
Hmm.
wants to be heard. Everybody's got a special day. I mean, there's National Hot Dog Day, there's National
Yes.
Donut Day, you know what I mean? But at the
Hell yeah.
same at the same time, when it comes to, right and wrong, when it comes to integrity, when it comes to character, there's only ever one way to do things, and it's the right
Mhm.
way. And
Yeah.
we have to be those stewards of not just our experiences in football, but our experiences in life for those guys who they might have, the world of talent, but they have zero guidance when it comes to, the earthly, world and the earthly desires and the distractions that take out many, many excellent, college football players. It turns them into regular people. And so
Yeah.
I encourage you, keep working that angle too. It's hard because now you're not the guy that's asking the questions. Now you're the
Hmm.
guy that's giving the answers, but don't be afraid to speak, the same as on your experiences at Charleston Southern, with your experiences, with reading the Bible and your relationship with Christ, your walk with Christ. Don't be afraid to share those things, because it, as a whole, right?
For
Um,
sure.
you want to be you at the end of this, you're going to be considered a good football player, but
Thank you.
you want to be a great man after all of the suffering and all the punishment you're putting your body through. You want to be a great human. And that encompasses multiple things, not just football, because football ends for all of us. You see what I'm saying? So you got to
For
start
sure.
thinking ahead of the game. How are you going to pay it forward? Yeah, you can come
Yes,
back
sir.
and you can come back and coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to be one day you're going to be a husband, and one day you're
Yeah.
going to be a father, hopefully, right? But
I hope so.
at the same time, your window of athletic ability is closing, and that you have to capitalize on day after day, not only from the standpoint of athletics, but from the standpoint of use your voice and use
Mhm.
your position as your soapbox, as your voice to speak about Christ, to speak about
Mhm.
how he pulled you through some of the things in your life, some of those insecurities, some of those hard times, and
Yeah.
help some of those young dudes that are guessing, some of those
Yeah.
young dudes that don't have a direction. Help point them that direction, not only with football but within life. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah.
What's cool is also the new distraction of paying it forward with this NIL stuff is
Mhm.
there are guys in the NCAA right now who are taking their NIL deals and they're distributing it among their teammates. There's
Yeah.
guys that are using their money for charity. So it's really cool to see that while it is a thing where people are getting blinded by the quick penny because I mean it's easy, you come from nothing or you get something thrown in front of you. There's still a lot of dudes out there that are really just good humans who are taking care of people around them and making sure that everyone is being risen up to their level, which is awesome.
No,
Yeah, for sure.
what is it like NIL wise? We had this conversation with Kirby when he was here, and he was he's an FCS guy right now with Juice up at South Dakota State. Tell us the difference of NIL advertising, marketing money from Charleston Southern to currently at USF. What is that like?
Because SDSU, they said they basically have like Frank's Auto Shop and and like a hot dog store. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, that it is a big difference. That's probably one of the biggest differences, um, financial wise. They give you every opportunity to set yourself up on a platform to make money because of your name or image and likeness.
yeah.
Like they have NIL workshops, and if you want to sell jerseys or t-shirts, you simply like send a text to the person that handles the NIL stuff, and boom, they set it all up for you and send you a link, and it's that simple.
So if we
Um,
get a Garret Cates jersey, you see money from that?
yeah, I'll get like 10%,
That's awesome.
Is it
and they send
jerseys
like
or
a quick
shirts like in
Venmo.
high school?
They do both jerseys, shirts, hoodies, whatever. Go shop.
Oh, I'm getting a hoodie. I'm
I
a big
love
hoodie guy. You know what I mean?
it.
But did you see either of you guys? Because now you are falling into the new NCAA ruling where they're actually, aside from stipends, they're actually paying you guys to play now.
I saw
Because
that.
yep, and the settlement that the NCAA
Mm.
just went retro with, dude. There, it's in the billions, right? So it's a billion or so that they're splitting back, and they're retro paying back to 2016.
Bro, come
I was
That's
on.
like,
crazy.
come on, yeah. So they're retro paying guys um, that played
Damn it,
almost
Ed
to the
O'Bannon.
yeah. You know what I'm saying, bro? Listen, I'm like, can they pay back to like the 90s? Because I could use
One
Well,
some
check.
change at the moment. But
let's talk about the greatest thing happening next month. NCAA football's return.
Yeah.
Will
yes.
you have your copy ready to play? And who are you taking? What team are you guiding to the national championship?
I mean, I definitely am doing USF 100%. I literally remember playing NCAA 14 in my upstairs with Kobe McLeod because I played youth ball with him and just souping up the team. And it just honestly feels crazy thinking about that. That's coming back, and now I'm playing. for
Sure.
USF, and like Kobe's playing for Clemson. I saw him last year at
Awesome.
a game,
Yeah.
and
So,
it's just so crazy. I mean, every day I walk out to see the IPF when I go to do the workouts, and you just have to like take it in for a second. It's so nuts that I'm in this space and you know that I'm at USF. It doesn't feel real. I've been here for 5 months and I still pinch myself. So
Well earned, man. Every step of the process.
yeah. Now
I try.
on that college football game, like in past, as I remember the old NCAA games, you could create a player, right?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
do you create yourself?
Doesn't have to. You know, the new game, they've all been
Oh, you're
awarded
already in
money
it.
for it. So they're in the game.
So you're
Yeah.
going to be in the new game.
Yes, sir.
So are you just going to long snap, or are you going to actually make yourself like a linebacker or a wide receiver, quarterback?
I'll probably go with the quarterback and go up to like my set speed will probably be like 40 or something. I'll drive it up to 99,
Yes.
add
That's
a
how you
few
got to do
inches.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to yoke them up. I remember back in the olden days, dude, on PlayStation 2, the NCAA 1996,
Had your
1997.
memory card.
Bro, put my
Yeah.
memory card in, made myself the biggest person ever on the field.
Oh yeah.
Unstoppable. I also returned punts and kickoffs. I was the quarterback. I was on the D line. I
You know what's cool though?
what
This new addition of the game, you're going to be able to make your player Pacific Islander, not just white or black. You have a space in the game now, Austin.
wow. We made it.
You
We
did it.
made it, everybody. We made it. Listen, that it's not as big here, but on the West Coast, there's a lot of Polynesian players. Here,
Mhm.
it's a lot less. I think it's just demographics.
Yeah.
But my sons asked me because they both play youth football for the Luch Chiefs. We watch a lot of football in our house, and they're like, "Hey, there is a lot of brothers that play," and I'm like, "It's a shift, right? From when it was we watched this old videos from the 60s and 70s, and in fact, we watched some of Barry Sanders' old highlights
Hmm,
from the
very.
80s, and he's like, my sons are like, wow, he's like the only black dude out there, and I'm like, times have changed, right?
You know
But
what's crazy
Most
though?
definitely.
yeah, tell
Look
us.
at Go ahead. You
No,
look
no,
at the
no.
NBA.
Yeah,
NBA, the two best players in professional basketball are white dudes. Like,
yeah,
what? What is this
Yeah,
world
it's
we're in?
nuts.
yeah. Well, I think the shift, and like I said, where it used to be 40s, 50s, and 60s, primarily white athletes, and now it's shifting to primarily, black athletes. Um, Here you are coming from Charleston Southern, coming
Mhm.
back here to Tampa. What was the demographic like there versus like the demographic at USF?
Honestly, I'd say it's like similar.
Yeah,
Um, Nothing really different. Um, but size wise, like I said, that's a little different.
yeah.
But
He's
demographic wise, I would say it's about the same.
Yeah, it's different, and I think it's not that it's a bad or a good thing. I
he goes,
just
it's the
think,
same. Yeah, it's different.
well,
So
I mean,
the size wise is different, but the demographic is probably the
it
same.
is the same. That's what I'm saying is, but imagine go to Texas where
Yeah.
football's humongous. There's a lot more Hispanic. There's a lot more Hispanic football players over there. If you go
Mhm.
over to California, there's a lot more
Polynesians.
Polynesian football players over there. And I think it goes, and why I'm bringing this up is because football, although an American sport, is
Global.
it's universal, and you
Yeah.
see it now happening with flag football. There are so many football fans around the globe that because it has been so exclusive to the United States, never had a real opportunity to play the tackle version. But the flag version is picking up so fast because the strategy and the skill that's required in the game, it's much easier to pick up. I think the collisions are always going to be the collisions, and I think that's always what's going to separate flag football, 7-on-7 from tackle football.
Yeah.
Is the collisions, dude. I hate to say it, it's and I've had this conversation with a couple of my other coaching colleagues. Is 7-on-7 football is ruining football. I'm saying it because the culture that they promote when it's getting in dudes' faces, when it's doing these big sellies, right? Like group sellies, and it's all
There's a
disrespectful. You know what
there's
I
a
mean?
celebration the other day of like I saw on Facebook. There's like 11 like 8 to 10 year olds, and they all get on the ground. They start like
Yeah.
messing with their junk. I'm
I
like,
saw
what am
that.
Yep.
what
I
am I
saw
watching
that.
right now?
Yep. Listen, that is wild to me. I'm down with the cool uniforms and stuff like that. I'm down with the cool gainers and flips and stuff and the acrobatic stuff. But one thing that's always separated anybody, right, is your ability to fight. And playing tackle football, I'm 100% convinced that guys who wrestle, guys that play football, guys that play rugby, guys that are used to hand-to-hand combat are those who come out in the real world, especially in today's real world, and succeed. Because
Yeah.
listen, I'm not afraid to have conflict. I'm not afraid to have confrontation because I know if it came to blows, I'm beating your butt. Like I'm gonna beat your
Yeah.
ass. That's just how it works. You know what I mean? And
I think that's your first swear word on the
it is. I
podcast.
think so.
I'm so
But
proud of you.
I got it
Desmond
out of
did
him.
this.
yo, listen,
Desmond did this to him last week.
there was no bleep button for Desmond. Desmond's episode was phenomenal because he had so many
Raw
nuggets.
emotion.
But I'll tell you what, that dude, when he got going, he apologized for the first like couple swear words, and then boom, he was
Desmond
all,
unleashed.
so we
Yeah.
just went with it. But going back to my original thought was, what we, as parents, and you're not there yet, but when you get
No.
to that spot, the concept for raising your children is you want to make them warriors in a garden rather than gardeners in a war.
Yeah.
Because then that same adage that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So we in our household, we teach our kids to fight, box and
Mhm.
wrestle. We spank our kids. We do a lot of those things that in society nowadays is not looked at as like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that but if you look at every great civilization, they were never it wasn't handshakes and contracts that made those great societies and civilizations, man. It was blood and war.
Yeah. Conflict.
It was those who were the greatest at that, but also knew how to control their emotions, were the ones who ran
Is
the
Zaddy out
world,
there?
who conquered other societies. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
For
so
sure.
yeah, I think from the standpoint of football is changing, and I'm sure you both have seen the NFL is changing some of the rules, like the kickoff rule,
Yeah.
No,
and
no
that
hip tackling
the
from
hip
the
the hip
side.
the hip drop tackle. But I understand some of the safety issues, but there's got to be a point because there is no middle ground to a collision. A collision's a
Mhm.
collision's a collision, dude. And I think there are some already fantastic things in place, like head to head, shoulder to anything that you hit in the head, that requires an ejection. But dude, everything else, short of the cowboy collar, that's a Roy Williams special. Remember Roy Williams?
Yeah, but you gotta bring a guy down at some
You
point somehow.
you got bro, you got no
Yeah.
choice. You got no choice. And so, how has the new landscape of
If you think about, we played Armwood last year,
Mhm.
and my son is a freshman. He played some linebacker, very little. Played special teams for us. Long snap, just following in your footsteps, long snapping.
I love it.
But kickoff, he goes down. He tries to tackle a Division I running back, and I think he broke every tackle rule on earth. Like he horse collared the guy, he swung him, he hit that, but he got the guy down. But that
Yeah.
doesn't happen with all the new rules. Like there's no
No.
way he takes that kid head up. So
that's
how do you coach a guy who is less talented or younger to tackle properly within the rules when he can't go head up with a guy that's
Yeah.
215, 6'3"
Yeah.
Well, and
fast.
it's just physics. Like it's angles, like and leverage. Like simply a guy is if you're trying to cut him off at an angle, there's just no logistic way that you can't hip drop to take him down because
Yeah.
otherwise you should try to shirt grab and toss him. He's got so much momentum, you're gonna fly right by him. You have to,
Pendulum.
you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, another rule that has started to bother me a little bit is the helmet condoms that they're allowing
Yeah.
the NFL to wear them in the games now.
That's gonna be weird. I
That's
like
It's
looking
gonna
at the
be
logo.
so weird.
That's gonna be hella weird. Or at USF, obviously, like every other college football program, you're wearing them at practice. But what is the sentiment of that happening? Because a lot of stuff that happens in the NFL then begins to trickle down into college football. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's going that direction? The rule changes in tackling going that direction. What do you get from Coach Galesh and that staff over there?
Yeah. I think college football will probably follow the NFL with all those rules, in my opinion. You know, I think the Guardian cap stuff is a little bit weird. Um, and honestly, like you feel the helmets nowadays, even compared to when I was playing football when I was 5, and it's like having a Tempur-Pedic mattress on your head. Now, I'm not hitting somebody every play like I was high school. You know, I definitely have more headaches in high school than I do now, if I have any. But it's definitely weird. I think it all just comes down to form, though. But like Coach Puskis was saying, sometimes you can't just square somebody up perfectly, you know, especially in my job when you're full speed and the returner's at full speed. It's like I got to do whatever I can do, you know, and I think it's going to be really hard for players to make plays in weird situations if there's so many restrictions.
Yeah,
You
it's
can put a
gonna.
Guardian cap on that car behind you.
Yeah, no lie.
Is
Now how's the
that
shift?
Porsche?
Yep. That's my favorite car. So my mom got me right.
Porsche
Yeah,
911?
she bought
Yep.
you a car for your homecoming.
I love that.
Yeah.
But the problem is she didn't buy you the whole car. She forgot the tires.
Your
Yeah, that one's
parents,
the real thing's gonna come after I finish college in 2 years. My undergraduate in 5 years is probably a record of taking
What?
forever, but
your parents are two of my favorite people, man. They did a
they're
great
great.
job with you.
Well,
And
listen, you got to enjoy the moment because a lot of guys in your situation because of that COVID year, you're like antsy to get out. You're antsy
Yeah.
to get on with life. But I can tell you, it's been was it 19 2000? It's been 25 years since I played. 25 years
Yeah.
since I left college. What 26 years, right? No, 25
oh,
years, right? It don't rush.
Yeah.
Where's the fire? Because listen, spring break, there's no such thing. Summer break,
Yeah.
there's no such thing. Bro, there's all those things that you enjoy as a kid and that you enjoy as a young adult. You take them for granted because you're like, I'm so bored. And what am I gonna do for this many months? When you get to be an adult and you do adulting things, you get no breaks. That's
Yeah.
that's the Puskis, bro. So you know what? Don't if you got extra time, and I talked to Dean about this too. I said, if you got the extra time, where's the race? Where's the fire? Dude,
Mhm.
enjoy where you're at currently. Enjoy your time doing it because no one's gonna look back when you're in your 40s, Garrett, and go, oh, well, we're not gonna hire you because it took you 6 years to get your bachelor's.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody's really going to care. So while you're here and while you're in that moment and you have no commitments and nothing holding you back and you're still chasing the dream, bro, chase it. Get after
Yeah.
it full go and live in that moment because I'll tell
my
you
mom
what.
today.
Yeah.
My mom today was like, "Hey, when are you guys coming down for a few days?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm working." She's like, You just started summer." I'm like, "Marie's grading for AP. She's got workshops. I got football. I got camps." She's like, "Oh, you need to take a break." I'm like, "There's no break.
Yeah.
There's no breaks."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ironic because like when you're young, you always want to be grown up. And when you're grown up, you always want to be young again. And
Yeah.
and it's one in which, for all intents and purposes, you have the rest of your life to work. You have your rest of your life to be an adult, but you have, as I'm counting, you have 2 more years to
Mhm.
be a young adult. You have 2 more years to be a college football player. And then real life will slap you directly in the mouth. I mean, it
Yeah.
does for all of us. So, I mean, I'm super excited. I mean, I can't wait for one that to watch you play here, but I also
Mhm.
can't wait until the new stadium gets built at
Oh yeah.
USF. Will you be able to play in that stadium?
No, I won't. I think I'm if it finishes in time, which I believe is
2026.
2027
Oh, I
or
thought it was 2026.
I did too.
it might be 26,
Yeah.
but I think I'm gonna miss it by a year. There's some new facilities that they're gonna build, which I
Yeah.
might be able to be in, like a new locker room. It's so right now, basically the Leroy Selman Athletic Center holds all of athletics. When they build the stadium, it's gonna be just past the indoor facility, and basically attached to the indoor facility is gonna be just football stuff now. So you're gonna be able to go to your locker and weigh in, do all this stuff, and then you'll be able to go upstairs and get tutoring. And that's just for football. You can do that now for in
All
our
athletics.
athletic building, but it's just gonna be football. So that'll be really cool.
That's super. That is
But
super.
I mean, they're doing everything. I mean, like they are just it's different at USF right now. Like they are building and doing everything in their power to make the experience enjoyable for the current players and for the new guys that are coming after them. And
Yeah.
just seeing that from USF and watching them and going to the games when I was younger with my family is crazy.
Well,
Just
you
like,
listen, you got to compete. The hard part about USF, and I've always had gripes with USF and whoever the head coaches were, is that they don't recruit here. Dude,
mhm,
what is your problem? Like you have got a plethora of talent in the Tampa Bay area and surrounding
mhm.
Sarasota and Manatee County,
Orlando even.
Orlando, bro. There are so many good football players. You don't have to go anywhere. Um,
Yeah,
and I think they miss that's where USF's missed the boat is they hopefully Galesh is turning his sights a little bit more on this area because there's a lot of
yeah,
good football players in this area. But for all intents and purposes, for fans like like Coach Pusky and myself, we want to watch the guys from here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If we get to coach against a guy um, that is a top-notch receiver, quarterback, linebacker, whatever he might be, and he ends up at USF, we that's interesting to us. We want to see the
mhm,
kids that we have coached against or that we coach go to the local university. Now again, there's talent everywhere, but I always wondered why they never ever just pick from their own backyard. You know what I mean?
yeah. I feel like Coach Golish may have started doing the Florida recruiting a lot because we have like our face, name, high school, and where we're from on the locker, and like I'm walking around like this, and it's Florida everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
awesome. It's all you need.
a ton of them.
This is all you need.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I
That's
agree.
awesome.
well, with
I agree.
USF too, aside from the big three, which is Florida, Florida State, Miami,
Hmm.
that's it. The second tier is creeping up, and
Is
I
Florida
think
still part of the big three?
they
Is
are,
Florida is
they are,
Florida still up there? Are they
they
though?
are, they are, because they're recruiting classes. But why I'm saying this is the second tier of Florida schools: UCF, USF, FA, FIU, FAU. Those
Hmm.
schools are starting to realize, hey, we're spending a lot of money going elsewhere to try to get guys that won't even come this way. Where you see UCF, they grabbed the Bullards from here.
Yeah.
They grabbed
Hmm.
the kid from Edgewater, which is in Orlando. They grabbed the kid from, the Ocoee, which is in this area. And
Yeah.
they're building a Power Five conference team with Florida kids. So I
Hmm.
think down there at FIU, it's the same thing. You don't have to go outside your backyard there to find incredible talent in
No,
Dade
especially at
County.
FIU.
Yeah, come on. FIU, that is easy pickings. The problem
Yeah.
is, in that area, um, and I've recruited that area before too, is those guys want big time. And
Hmm.
and FIU is not big time yet. USF is not big time yet.
Hmm.
UCF is probably pushing the most because they're jumping into the Big 12, but I cannot see um, the other of those second tier schools staying in those smaller conferences for long, especially because of all of the money they're putting into recruiting, into social media, into stadiums, into new locker rooms, into all the support staff that you guys are getting. Um, I think that's the new face of college football is and
Yeah.
and now that they're paying you guys, you know what I mean? There's every place is desirable, where before
Yeah.
there was the haves and the have-nots, because this is the one positive thing about the transfer portal, um, is that now it levels the playing field. I
Hmm.
think those dynasty programs, the Alabamas, the LSUs, those are all gone because
Hmm.
a guy goes there for his freshman year, he sits behind, three guys, but he gets the Alabama experience. He gets the Alabama training, the Alabama education. And then he goes at whatever they win that happen to win that year. And then he goes into the portal and goes, "Who wants me? I'm an SEC champion. I was a 5-star guy, 4-star guy. I had my first year under Nick Saban, and like that's a dude that every single program will be like, "Yep, we'll take you. We'll
Yeah.
take you." So,
And I think the hard part is when dudes come out of high school, it's like, they might turn their nose to like FCS or like a non, what is it, Power Four now,
yeah.
FBS school. But I think these guys will realize soon once they get there and they play a season where you're sitting behind three guys, like, man, this sucks. Like, I want to play. So, like, a message out to all the young guys in the area that are watching, like, go somewhere where you're going to play, where you know it's going to be a good school, where there's a good staff, and don't just judge off of like going to a massive FBS school. Every school is going to be great. I can tell you from FCS, being at FCS school, like it's going to be great no matter what. You're still playing D1 football. Go somewhere where you're going to play and you're going to have a good time. You're going to get a good education and that you're going to have fun because in my opinion, if I didn't play until my junior or senior year, it'd be like, man, I would have rather gone and played 4 or 5 years of football.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. We had if do you know Trey Johnson?
Sounds really familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, he played at Steinbrenner too. He
Yeah.
is
And he played for the Steelers,
Yeah,
correct?
Steelers and the Broncos. Uh,
Yes.
Ironically, right? This conversation we're having now is when he was in his recruiting days, back in 2013.
Mhm.
Um, he Iowa State was hot on him, Indiana was hot on him, and Villanova was hot on him. And he was trying to turn up his nose at Villanova. And he and I had a conversation because he really, really wanted to go to Indiana. And Indiana's FBS school. It's, a big college football program. And the coach over there, when he had conversations with both coaches, he and I talked and he said, yeah, that coach said, they're going to redshirt him his freshman year. He's going to chance to play, practice and earn a spot in his sophomore year, and then he might actually see the field in his junior year. And then he went to Villanova, and they're like, "We're going to give you a chance to compete now."
Yeah.
But he said when he went to take his official visits, he went to Villanova and he was underwhelmed by their facilities. He was underwhelmed by the amount of students at the school. When he went to Indiana, obviously the bigger picture, right? The bigger program, the bigger stadium. And the conversation, he was really torn. Um, was like we say to a lot of, and we actually said it this year to a couple of our kids, that you always ever want to go somewhere where they want you.
Mhm.
because then you know that they're going to invest in you, not only as a football player, but as a person. If
Mhm.
and you of all people know the same, that college football is a business. And
Yeah.
you as a player, even though now you're getting paid when Coach Puskis and I didn't get paid, you're just a cog in the wheel. And when you break down, not if you break down, they just throw you away and they put a new cog in the wheel. When you
100%.
graduate, when you get injured, if you can't make it no more, like they just plug another one in there. So if that's your gonna be your part of that machine, why not go somewhere where they're gonna nurture you, where they're gonna
Yeah.
help you succeed, they're gonna help you grow. So that's a great message to a lot of those guys out there, because the smoke and mirrors of social media have got kids nowadays, man. They see all
Yeah.
this stuff and that's they think that's all they want. And I think that's all that's out there. And they think that's the end all be all of
Mhm.
success, right? Where your success, just like Dean's, just like some of our other guys that have come through, just like Trey's, right? Who he went to
Mhm.
an FCS school. He said, man, one of the greatest experiences that he ever had there. But
Yeah.
it still gave him the opportunity to get a shot to play in the league. It
Yeah.
still gave him a great education. It's that he still made great friends and bonds with guys that, he still keeps and he'll keep forever. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
so
For sure.
I think that's for you. Um, it's all experience. Life is an experience. Life as, the money will come and go. Listen, like that Porsche behind you, you're not going to keep it forever. Nobody does. But the memories you made at Charleston Southern, the friends you made,
Mhm.
the memories you'll make playing at USF, and the friends you'll make there. Dude, what is the value of those experiences? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's it's the biggest thing. Like you said, that's something that I value more than anything. Like my friends and the people that, love and support me, and everybody from Charleston Southern, and especially people from Steinbrenner. Like we still text in the Team 11 group chat every day almost.
Wow.
We still Snapchat in that group chat every day. Actually, Matthew Durant sent a video of Grayson Linnell laid out on the track from like 4 or 5 years ago today after one of the runs. And
Wow.
we're all laughing at it. And it just really speaks to like that's the stuff that matters. Like you were saying, the people that I met at Charleston Southern and that I'm gonna meet here, like that's what really matters. That when football is over, those are the guys that you can hang out with, and that's where all of your happiness is coming from, I
Yeah.
think. Just
Oh
the
yeah.
people that you have around you.
Yeah. Well, and that's why, listen, the coaching staff that you had, that coached you, we're still together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coach President and I have been together 16 seasons. Coach Puskis and I have been together 15. We got guys who are actually coming back to coach with
Yeah.
us. We've got Boggs with us, we got Bird with us, we got Washington with us. I mean, it's those are the kind of, that's the kind of legacy we want to leave behind for you guys. That
Hmm.
football is family. It's well beyond a game. Uh,
Yeah.
it's it's something that we'll always have in common with everyone around the world. Now that it's gone global, but likewise, the experiences that you're getting now, that you've earned already in your last 3 years, Coach Puskas and I could go, yep, I know exactly what it's like to do it two-a-days. I know exactly what it's like
three,
all
three
those
days.
gas. Listen, I know exactly what it feels like to get laid out the first time,
First play ever.
because you're not prepared. So, I mean, we are excited for you. I
Oh,
think,
so excited, man.
and we're
And
happy that
Thank
you're
you.
on.
what's great is football is family. Today was a first for me, and one of these moments where I could be coach and dad is both of my sons for the first time in my life. I'm getting the opportunity to coach because Everett had his first workout with Steinbrenner football today, and
That's
Gregory had his
awesome.
Ah,
first day of the new year today. So freshman and
wow.
sophomore in high school. It's pretty
Wait,
That
awesome.
is awesome.
is Everett working out with varsity?
He worked out JV today.
Oh, good. Yes,
Yeah, so
please. Leave him with JV for now.
So,
Listen, I
no,
love Everett.
he got some good work in though.
Did
So
he?
That's awesome.
yeah,
Hey, I
That
was
was
at that spring game too. I saw Greg get a pick.
yeah, man, he's working.
That's
yeah.
He's
awesome,
working.
man. I love it. I
You
love
got to
it.
come out and long snap with him and Brendan for us a little bit. We need a little bit of
Yeah,
leadership from the community.
Actually, you just need to
for sure.
put the Steinbrenner helmet back on and long snap
To
for
do
us.
that, that'd be awesome.
We kind of need it because our long snapping situation, we're still it's still downloading. Right,
It's
We'll
Greg?
get
gonna
it
be
right.
awesome. We're gonna get it right
Yeah,
We'll
get them
get it
right.
with
right
your
for
help.
sure.
Tell us how school's going right now.
It's going great. I've always been raised to value school and getting good grades. So I feel like no matter what school I went to, I would have done good in school because I put so much effort towards that.
Yeah.
It's something that's important to me, and it's just another way to push myself to be a better person, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
it's going good. There's tons of people to help you if you need it, which is a little different than FCS. Um, but it's good. Like I said, it was weird going into a big class and having that difference. I'm in a summer class right now online, so juggling a lot between waking up early and mandatory breakfast, meetings, then you lift, come back and do some schoolwork, go back for more meetings and mandatory dinner, and
Yeah. What
life
is
is busy.
what is your major?
It's business entrepreneurship.
Business entrepreneur. Tell us, what are you going to do after you get that degree? Aside from buy a Porsche, right? We get it. So.
It's letting
No.
Dad retire.
My dream is to become a long snapping coach. I saw the market for that coming through high school, and I was blessed with parents that could, pay for me to get lessons and go to these camps.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have a good talent for coaching guys and being personable to help people be better at anything. But, being good at long snapping is something that's unique. And I just like to work with that and see how far I can take that. I have a backup plan after that, but that would be my dream to be able to
Nice.
coach young long snappers and do camps and all that.
That's
Do
amazing.
you have the NFL dream still, or the CFL dream?
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. I mean, I would love to be able to go to the NFL and play there for as long as possible, even if it's a practice squad. And then that would make it a little easier on myself to start up my own company, even if it was going
Yeah.
slow. Like hopefully you'd have some money in the bank.
Yeah. There's a guy that I coached at Georgia Tech. His name is Andrew Economos. He was 6'1", probably 230, 220, 230 when he left Georgia Tech. Just snapped for us over there. He ended up being the long snapper for the Bucks for like 9 years.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, to meet anyone who was like a blessed individual and a person that understood where his blessings were coming from, dude, Eco was a phenomenal dude. I mean, he ended up being like about 250 playing in the
Yeah.
league, but he made a whole career out of it. And there is a niche for it. It's a very specific niche market. But if you're still trying to chase a professional football dream, that no doubt in the business world, it's going to help you a ton because whatever that skill might be, right?
Mhm.
That brand is such a big global brand.
Yeah.
That you hang your name on it, your business is off and running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which would be cool too. That'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I mean, it's something that I'm always going to work towards. And obviously, you are so blessed if you make it to the league. But, I know eventually it's going to be all over with football playing.
Yeah.
So, but I obviously want to stay around it and help the others in this community and hopefully all around the country. So we'll see.
Nice. Very nice. Well, listen, we always ask our guests, and especially you being a Steinbrenner alumni, football alumni, you also being one of the members of that 2019 super team, right?
Yeah.
That is a dream that every high school team wants to chase. Like currently,
Mhm.
you guys have set the bar and set the standard for what a Steinbrenner football program can achieve.
Mhm.
Give the guys that are coming up that were in your that are in your shoes now.
Mhm.
Give them advice, not from a college football standpoint and what you're doing, but tell them what they can do now. What advice do you have now for them so that we can be successful and we can match your energy and match your guys' success in those formidable years?
Yeah, I think one thing that was special about my junior year and senior year was the relationships that we had built with each other. Um, I'm talking about off the field relationships where we were friends. And because of those off the field relationships, we could hold each other accountable on the field in the weight room when we would have 7 a.m. lifts or 6 a.m. lifts with Coach Ross. Even though they weren't mandatory or anything, if somebody wasn't there, we were shooting them a text or giving them crap all day. Like, hey man, that wasn't okay that you missed. And when you have those relationships, that allows you to take that feedback and not be like, hey man, screw you. You could say, okay, this is a friend that's saying this. Come on, man, don't miss any more lifts. I think those relationships help on the field when you're friends, and you can take those, uh, come on, attaboys, and not take them personally.
Yeah.
Um, and then also, I think we had a group of beasts too on that team, but
Yeah.
uh, it was a lot of fun. I think we all just enjoyed that time out there together and embraced everything that was going on. I don't think COVID was a thing quite yet, but we just had fun and we took it seriously, but we just worked hard, put our heads down, and had a good laugh while we were doing it.
Yeah. What is your um, favorite high school football memory?
Ooh, I would probably say the Osceola game, which was the game before the
Rock truck,
semifinals.
rock truck.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. Going into facing a team like that, obviously you always go into a game thinking that you're gonna win. But we knew it was a good team and you're walking out there. I mean, these guys are big, but when you just feel like momentum shifts like that and like, oh, we might win this game for real, like, and it cuts down to that and you win, and it's like, man, we're going to the semifinals. We're about to play a Popka. Like those are just things that you'll never forget. And then the other times is honestly like waking up early for those lifts. You go hit a lift and you're going to class still sweating because you just got in the shower and threw your clothes on and you're going to get breakfast in the cafeteria and just laughing with your boys like, man, this sucks. I'm going to smell like crap all day now.
Yeah.
And it's like, then it's like, that wasn't very fun. But you look back on it at those times that you think were hard and it's like, man, that was just the best.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you being on the show with us because it's great information. But it's also great catching up. And this
For
is
sure.
not the end because we are going to be at those football games. We're going to be at least at one of them. Because you're going to give us tickets and my
I got y'all.
but
I got you.
we appreciate you. We appreciate who you are. We appreciate what you've done for our football program, and likewise the kind of person that you've been for Charleston Southern's program, and who you're going to be for USF, man. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, keep
We
spreading your love, man.
Yep.
Positivity, dude.
Hey
It's
man, we
important.
we
I
love you so
will. Thank
much.
you.
We love you so much. We're proud of you. Um, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good. Love you guys too, man. Thank you
Hey,
for having
listen,
me on.
peace. This is it. We're
All love,
out.
dude.
See
See ya. Go
ya.
Bulls.
Yes, sir. Go Bulls.
See ya.